All right, the Payne's fans. So I sat back earlier today to watch the new episode from last night called Making Repairs. And I have to say that, I'm not hoping, not jinxing this, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the past two episodes of the Paynes. This one being Making Repairs, then last episode, Lynn's Nightmare, I believe was the name of it. Just because I feel like in some ways this episode was actually better than Lynn's Nightmares in the sense that there was comedic scenes, but to be honest, I don't feel like they were as drawn out as they usually are. And it captured a sense of seriousness as well as hope for the future at the end of the episode where Nyla is, talking to her kids about how she's sorry that she put them in the situation that they were in with Kendrick. And, they had a heart to heart. And to be honest, this is what I've been looking for with the Paynes. I do feel like they've caught their stride. Now, these are the kind of episodes that I feel will keep this series going as we go into the back half of the season. As far as I know, I don't believe the Paynes is going on break after this week, but I didn't see any preview for next week's episode online as of yet. It's Saturday at 6:30 p.m. while I'm recording this. So if I, get some more news in the coming week, I'll definitely do a video kind of recapping my thoughts on this season so far. But I do believe we have the introduction of, I believe, the new character Terrence, who's like a handyman. It's kind of interesting. You got Derek, the handyman, on the haves and the have-nots, and now you have Terrence here on the Paynes. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the only character in the opening credit picture that hadn't been introduced yet. And it looks like Joanne recommended him to Ella to help Curtis with the repairs for the laundromat so he doesn't mess things up himself. Now, the reason I feel like this episode was good is they could have spent 5 to 10 minutes dragging out a scene with Curtis, trying to fix one of the washing machines and dryers, but then messing it up completely. Like, he spends all this time fixing it up, but then he flips a switch and it blows up or something along those lines. And I actually did like that they, I think Joanne's son's name is Ryan, correct? Double tap. I do like the fact that they explain why he wasn't in the past couple episodes because he's studying for exams. So again, I just like those little tidbits where they write it into the story for why a certain character is absent for, a certain amount of time. And going back to Ella, I did find it funny how I don't push. And it's like, well, we kind of know you do push, Ella. But at the same time, she made a good point. This girl lives in my house. So at some point they will have to talk about, the elephant in the room being the whole Kendrick situation, Lynn with the rat and all that other stuff. But I did like how it was written in so Ella wasn't over the top pushy, but I actually did laugh at Ella's scenes this episode. So I feel like this episode truly captured a real balance of lighthearted comedy that isn't, I don't feel like the comedy in this episode was forced. I felt like it was natural. I really got a Sandra vibe from Joanne because obviously 227 and the Paynes are on the same channel. And did anybody but me catch that little sister Easter egg, or at least me, where the handyman's name is Terrence and Joanne was the one to introduce him to everybody, while on Sister, I believe she was dating and then got engaged to a guy named Terrence on Sister. I forgot the actor's name, but I do know that he played Professor Overby on the Parkers, so that's how I remember that. So I did laugh at that moment when she said his name was Terrence. But going back again to the central core of the episode, I did like the fact that Nyla sat down with her kids to just kind of apologize for everything. I know some people were probably like, Kenny is still disrespectful talking about that old man and whatnot, but I cracked up when Nyla was like, Uncle Curtis is inside of you. I can see the Uncle Curtis in you now. When Lynn was like, oh, the nightmares, it's okay. It's like, no, it ain't okay. You messing up my sleep. And I really did laugh at that scene when Nyla pointed out that her son is becoming Curtis. I really did like that. And the fact that Kenny had this moment where it's like, look, I understand, Mom, you did what you thought was best for us, but hopefully, we can move forward from that. And again, Lynn is just so adorable. It's like, wait, what did Kenny say? Don't tell me Kendricks is back in the picture. What does that mean? I just love the fact that she's able to play that little sassy yet little girl. It just works. I feel like she's definitely one of the fan favorites this season. And wow, I feel like Kendrick now. You know how he popped up at the church at the shelter where Nyla was working. I'm sorry if I stutter over the names. Forgive me, because these characters are new, and I usually in my mind I'm confusing Lynn's name with Nyla's name. But Kendrick shows up to Nyla, you know, kind of folding up the blankets and whatnot. He's getting better and this and that. And here's what confused me: the fact that he said he didn't care before, but I still love you. But I'm wondering, did he actually love Nyla before but didn't care? But now does he actually love her because he realizes about emotions and stuff during his anger management? I don't know. But this is just me. But what I hope doesn't happen is Kendrick becomes the Justin of the Paynes, where he just pops up every single episode. Hey, I'm getting better. I just came out of a meeting. My anger's diminished. Now, my theory, and I just love how you all seem to support the Payne videos on this channel. I don't know if this will happen, but, you know, I said that Calvin might show up and start a relationship with Nyla, or maybe Kendrick might be the new guy in Nyla's life. Like, I can see, you know, what did they say? Ryan would distract Curtis so Terrence can come over to the garage area to fix the washing machines and whatnot while Curtis is distracted. So I'm guessing, like, you know, it would be a pretty comedic scene where, you know, Curtis is led outside, Terrence rolls in there, fixes everything up, and then Curtis flips a switch and then thinks he's the one that did it. That would be funny. But maybe during one of these exchanges where Terrence is in the garage working, Nyla comes out there and meets him. And then they might start a relationship or start dating or something along those lines. Given the fact that Joanne introduced Ella to Terrence at the church and Nyla works there, I would think that, you know, they might have met before. But then again, he did hand Ella a business card, so that must mean that he's not stationed at the church. Like, he has his own business as a handyman. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if Nyla and Terrence have ever met face to face before. But aside from Calvin, I think Terrence might be a possible new love interest for Nyla in the future. And I do believe that Kendrick's and his anger management training or classes will fall apart, because imagine if he sees Nyla with another man, whether it be like in a friendly conversation, whether it be a guy that she's in a relationship or dating, and all of that anger management training will go flying out the window, and he'll probably try to fight the guy. Nyla will try to break it up and then get hit as a result, literally making her glad that she's not going back to him and making things worse. So I feel like that might be something that happens in the future. But overall, Making Repairs, I feel, was a solid episode. I give it a thumbs up. I feel like this was definitely a great episode. But here's my fear. Remember how I talked about on the haves and the have-nots that Aaron Boy and then the next episode, Hannah's Tea, were two great episodes, given the fact that the first several episodes of the season weren't that good. I hope the same thing isn't true of the Paynes, where I give 2 episodes in a row praise, but then that third one might knock it out in terms of, oh man, we're backtracking from how far we came. But it seems like each episode is definitely building upon the other in terms of story, definitely expanding the personalities, story, and background of Nyla, her 2 kids. And I did like Joanne in this episode, because she was in this episode for several minutes as opposed to only a few seconds. So again, the fact she's not overly utilized, but she's not on the screen short enough where it's like, okay, why is she even here? I did like this episode in terms of how they really balanced out comedy, seriousness, love, and most importantly, heart. And that's the one thing I do love about this show, because despite, you know, the laugh track, drawn out scenes, Curtis, no. It had heart, and that's what I love about it. So with that being said, if you haven't done so already, I highly recommend checking out this episode in your spare time. So let me know your thoughts. What did you think about Making Repairs? I'll look at the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and thanks for tuning in.